Oh hey, it's Wes. And today we're having a look at some power. Some V-mount power from Moman. It is their Power99 Touch. And rather boldly, Moman has asked me to compare it directly with its competitors. So we're also looking at the newer PS99E as well as the small rig VB99. Now, some of you might be familiar with the recent ad push for the new small rig VB99 Pro. This is not the Pro. This comes at a lower price point that is still not the same price point as the Moman. We'll get into pricing later, but we're going to compare these. It takes me a long time to do these battery reviews, especially since I tried to do a deep dive into all three of these batteries, and I need to do load testing to start, and then load testing after a rundown. So we tested these batteries initially for a approximately 100 watt load, and then a lighter 15 watt load. So the 100 watt load representing a light. By representing, I mean I plugged it in to this light and set it to 98.5 watts. Why 98.5? Well, why don't I just show you right now. This is at 95% state of charge. Let me turn this light on. And if I crank this light to 100 watts or 99 watts, this shows OP, or overprotection, overpower. Can't get to 100. If I plug the newer light in, do the same thing, and push this to 100 watts of power, let's turn it on. OP. Maybe these are running a similar operating system, I don't know. So I couldn't test 100 watts, even though if I plug this into the Moman, this one's at 39%. I go just over 100 watts, it doesn't care. So this is the only one that's actually achieving that rated 100 watts of DTAP power. And so I test them all at 98.5, that's as high as I could get without triggering overprotection on these other two batteries. And let's look at some results here. So when we load test at our full 100, or rather 98.5 watts, the small rig lasted for 50 minutes and 35 seconds, the newer lasted for 48 minutes and 34 seconds, and the Moman lasted for 50 minutes and 45 seconds. Very, very similar between these two batteries, and I mean, that's to be expected. They're all rated for 99 watt hours, so it should be the same. And then with my 15 watt test, and that is the amount of power that one of these batteries draws if I have my camera and my monitor plugged into it with dummy batteries at the same time. The small rig lasted for 6 hours and 4 minutes, the newer for 6 hours and 2 minutes, the Moman for 6 hours and 5 minutes. Very, very similar, no surprises whatsoever. But what did surprise me is after I managed to power cycle these 10 times, mostly by just powering my MacBook Pro by a USB-C, draining them down because I didn't want to do heavy drains for every single cycle because that might prematurely kill these batteries, so they were heavy but not super heavy drains, about 65 watts. We'll start with the 15 watt test. This came in at 5 hours and 54 minutes. This one came in at 5 hours and 50 minutes. And this one came in at 6 hours and 1 minute. So we're doing a little bit better here. Not a lot though. But then going into our high drain test with the batteries broken in, we're looking at 45 minutes and 23 seconds, 44 minutes and 58 seconds, 52 minutes and 10 seconds. If you will remember, the first drain test on this was 50 minutes and 45 seconds. And then when this was done, it still showed 8% left, and sure enough, I could power other things, just not my 100 watt light off of it when it was down to 8%. So there was still power left. What is going on here? Well, if we look at the specs, we talked to Moman, they are using Panasonic lithium-ion cells in here, whereas these ones, I don't know what they're using. They both say they're using high-quality cells, but apparently the cells in this are a step above. And even after breaking in, not only are they working as well, they're working even better, which is really surprising and impressive. Now, let's look at the features of these batteries to compare. As you can see on our left and right here, The small rig and the Moman basically just show a percentage. Now it's not only a percentage, because the Moman at least will give you the amount of time remaining at your current output level. And so I plug in this 100-watt light, it shows we have 28 minutes remaining. Whew, got a lot brighter in here. 17 minutes remaining. Okay, we have leveled off here. I've done a few rundown tests on this and it does tend to be accurate to within plus or minus 11%. Whereas on the newer, we get this big old display. But the problem with this big old display is that it is only showing voltage. You can see I plugged in this big light and nothing changed. I don't care what my voltage is. I would like to know what my power usage is, whether it be the current or the wattage. It doesn't show me that. So this whole display is kind of a waste. You can get a more expensive light, such as the SmallRig 99 Pro, that has a nice big LCD display that actually gives you a lot of information. I'm not sure if I get that or not, because you can also get this ZG Cine X99 that has pretty much all the same information for less. Now this is still quite a bit more money than the Moman though, or a lot of these. Let's look a little bit further on our specs, and this is where the Moman struggles just a little bit. So on our DTAP out, as we can see, we max out at 98.5 watts on these two. This one will go up to about 120 before it overcurrent limits. On our USB-C charging, these will both charge at 65 watts. This one maxes out at 57 watts. Pretty close, not the same. USB-A out, 27, 27, 25 watts. That's using the quick charge spec. And USB-C out, they're all 65 watts. Again, you need to spend more money, get the Pro X series batteries to get a full 100 watts out of these things. And then for DTAP in charging, these are very fast at about 120 or more watts. This one's a little slower at 57 watts. And we are missing one feature on this that the other two have, and that is a 12 volt out. This has 8, 12, USB-A and C, 8, 12, USB-A and C. This one just has 8 volt out, 8.4, USB-A and C. So if you need that 12 volt, this isn't going to do it for you without an adapter plate. Speaking of adapter plates, this is our next disadvantage, and as you can see, this one has a plastic V-mount clip on it. I'm not sure why they went with that, and also as you can see, it's using the exact same tooling shape and mold as the newer, which is using a metal plate. Very interesting. And one nice advantage of the SmallRig is that you have your quarter 20, your screw mounts on here, so you don't even need to use a plate if you don't want to. And finally, for our usability issue here, when this is mounted in a plate, it is hard to get this protective thing open because it opens right up against the plate here, whereas the other ones can be peeled from the side. All right, our last point of comparison is our prices. So our SmallRig, although it often goes on sale, I have to go with MSRP here, comes in at $240, by far the most expensive. Newer, $175, Moman, $179. So for an extra $60, that is a tough sell. I would sooner go with the ZG Cine X99 if I'm spending that kind of money. And especially since Moman has switched to more reliable Panasonic power cells in here, that's fantastic. This is going to be, or should be, very reliable for you. Now, at the time of my final testing, I had gone through 10 power cycles in this. Now I'm up to 20, 25, and still going strong. I'll update you on a pinned comment below if anything changes about that. So as you can see here with the Moman Touch, we have one button, easy control. If you want to cycle through the displays, you don't click the button, you touch it. I'm not entirely sure why, but I mean, that's neat. You click the button to turn it on, or you can tap it to cycle, or just lightly touch it. So that's the touch. Not a touch screen, there's no display here, it's just this. So we're plugged in, supplying power. Apparently we'll supply it for a good long time. So I'm charging this battery, which is already at 97%. If you have any questions or want to pick up this battery, there's a link down in the description below. If there's anything you think that I should be checking out or that I'm missing out on, let me know. Coming soon, something very new and different. Something a little more luxe, if you will. But until next time, stay powered on and go take some photos.